reasons you might feel lonely even though you're not alone. It is estimated that over 40% of us will feel the aching pangs of loneliness at some point in our lives. Yet despite how common loneliness is, few people are fully aware of the dramatic ways in which it impacts us. Here are 10 surprising facts about loneliness that will change how you view this all too common but devastating psychological condition. 1. You care too much what others think. Worrying about what everyone thinks of you is a waste of time and energy. Of course, naturally, we want everyone to like us, but the reality is that not everyone will. The only person's opinion of you that truly matters is yours. How you think about yourself is pivotal to a happy life. 2. Fears of intimacy, vulnerability. Growing up, we all learn to play certain roles, what is not accepted by peers and authority, and how to survive in a sometimes cruel world. Our teenage years are often filled with experiences of trying on different masks until we find one that fits. Commonly, we also learn in this process that it is not okay to just be you. This is especially true if we've been deeply hurt. When someone gets bullied or is in a relationship that leaves one heartbroken, a message starts to form that it's not safe to be who you are. It's not okay to open up, love, or be vulnerable. An armor starts to form to protect against any possible future instances of pain. And, in so doing, a gap begins to grow between you and others. Shielding yourself from pain makes sense. But, what protects against pain also prevents love from getting through. There's no selective armor. We also live in a society that values toughness, stoicism, and fierce independence. We all are taught lessons from an early age that it is not acceptable to be weak. Our feelings become dangerous and shameful parts of our being. We spend time with friends and loved ones, yet everyone is wearing masks of superficiality. Deeper discussion, intimate connection, and authenticity are avoided at all costs. A suit of armor becomes a fleet of armed warriors. More distance, more gaps, and more loneliness. 3. You are stuck in the past. Sometimes you can have a lingering sense of being alone you don't understand because it's actually a hangover from your past. Perhaps you were an only child, shy, or ostracized at school, and even though you are now an outgoing adult you are holding on to that sense of feeling lonely you once had. Or perhaps it's a past hurt that is stopping you from developing the connections you now need to feel good. If this sounds a possibility, talk therapy would be a good fit for you, creating a safe environment to identify and work through the old beliefs and emotions that no longer suit you. 4. More than 60% of lonely people are married. When married couples no longer share their deepest feelings, thoughts, and experiences with one another, it can leave them feeling disconnected and alone. 5. You struggle to communicate your feelings. Baby steps: start by confiding your feelings to one person who you implicitly trust and feel comfortable confiding in. Talking helps develop bonds, and you'll feel less alone. 6. History of trauma. Another major findings of the previously mentioned study was that individuals with histories of trauma were also those with the highest rates of subjective loneliness. For each additional childhood traumatic event, the odds of experiencing emotional loneliness increased by 28%. This emotional loneliness was experienced even when the person ranked high on number of relationships. At the same time, those who were both alone and subjectively lonely fared the worst. They were also those to have adult traumatic experiences in addition to a higher level of childhood trauma. Childhood trauma impacts an individual during their most vulnerable times of growth and development. Such experiences not only impact one's sense of safety, but also shape a person's perception of relationships, the trustworthiness of others, one's sense of self and worthiness, and risk-reward ratio of being vulnerable to another. And, when a person becomes traumatized and/or hurt repeatedly, it becomes that much more difficult to believe that people are safe or even worth getting close to. 7. You don't know yourself well enough. If you have never taken the time to truly learn what makes you happy and inspired, you'll end up like a leaf in a stream, at the whims of other people's ideas of what you should be doing and who you should be hanging out with. You might be in a career that doesn't suit you, surrounded by people that you can't connect with because on a deeper level they don't match you. If this sounds like you, and you have an active successful life but are still feeling lonely, it might be time to do some self-development work. 8. Loneliness actually makes us feel colder. Studies found that recalling a time in which we felt lonely made participants estimate the room temperature as being significant colder. It even made their actual skin temperature drop. The idea of feeling pushed into the cold resonates from our evolutionary past, in which being ostracized from our tribes meant being kept away from the warmth of the hearth and the social group around it. Indeed, our bodies respond to loneliness in dramatic ways. 9. You're waiting for someone to make you feel whole. Your love interest could sprinkle you with all of the attention and love you need, but if you don't feel happy and worthy on the inside, the only person who can change that is you. You have to be the hero of your story. 10. You are secretly attached to the idea that you are a lonely sort. If you choose to keep something in your life, it is inevitably because in some way you are benefiting from it. Identifying those benefits allows you to choose to let them go. If you can't stop feeling lonely no matter how you try to change your life, it could be that you are attached to the way it makes you feel special and untouchable, or like you are too complicated for others to understand, i.e., smarter than them. Spend time making a list of all the benefits feeling loved and accepted can bring you instead.